again, and welcome to the Mike Leaf Show here on the Warrior Sports Network. I'm Grant Wall, joined as always by Mike Leaf, head coach of the Winona State men's basketball team. And coach, not the results that you were looking for last weekend. Friday night, Warriors played very well in beating a tough and scrappy St. Cloud team. Turn around the next night and fell on a last-second shot to Concordia St. Paul. Has to be a disappointing weekend for you.
It is. It was very disappointing. And I will say, we had, we talked last week, played Southwest Minnesota State and double overtime game, played extremely well down the stretch. Looking forward to the weekend, knowing St. Cloud is a tremendous basketball team. They have a lot of talent, and like I said, they're always on top of the NSIC, every year. And we played extremely well, and we had such energy. And it was so disappointing against Concordia because we came out and right off the bat we fell behind, built ourselves a little bit of a lead, couldn't finish them off. And but the energy, the hustle, the heart, it was so disappointing. And I will say this, after the game we were in the locker room for a good 20 minutes talking about it. And we got to hash these things out, and we've got to take care of it because, like I said to them, we're still in the thick of things, and there's a lot that we can do. And I really do. I believe we've got the talent that can do these things, but we've got to take care of business. And you're at home. You had one of the biggest crowds we've had during the course of the season, and we didn't play well. And so maybe it's an eye opener, and we go into this weekend against Upper Iowa. So we've got to take care of business. We just have to get it done.
What can you do to get things back on track? It's not tactical errors in the pieces. It's not like a piece is missing. It just seems to be that, that whatever it is, if you want to call it, effort or intensity or whatever, just seems to be lacking for just a few minutes, and that gets you in a hole enough.
I told the team this, and I really firmly believe it, is that people have put such high expectations on them on an individual basis and as a team. Is that good? Yeah, it's good. It's good to have those pressures come, on you, not just, as a team. And it's like Concordia, they came in with a lot of firepower, and they came after us. And I told them this. I said, you're gonna get into the conference tournament, hopefully, and you're gonna have every team that's the mode that you have to have. And we've just got to have that, as I told them, you've got to play the game. Ben Fisher, you've got to play it as if it is your last career basketball game. And not just being a senior, but across the board. Everybody has to have that mentality. So, this week we're really going to work hard at that from a coaching standpoint, really trying to instill that and, correct some things that we need to work on. And we've got to, like I said, come out with that highest energy every time we play the game.
And Friday night, you had a lot of really, really solid individual performances. You look at Joel Armstrong, who's really playing well the last few games. Kellen Taylor hit a couple big shots. Joel even hit a three of his own there as the shot clock was coming down. John Wahlberg didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but he had 8 rebounds and was really a presence inside. So everything was really clicking there on Friday night.
Right, absolutely. And I that's the thing that we have to carry over. And that's the encouraging thing, is that there's no question in my mind we can beat any team in our league and any team in our in the region. But it's a matter of us, and we've got the I'm actually real happy we only have one game this weekend, because I think it's a coaching error on my part that the amount of minutes that I forced Ben Fisher and Anthony Tucker to play. I've got to get some other people in there and spell them, because I think it does take its toll. It's been unfortunate because I think one of our best defensive and hustlers on the squad is Brad Meyer, and unfortunately he was unable to play this past weekend. And Taylor Cameron has been spelling Ben Fisher for those few minutes to help him out, and then we've kind of rotated Tucker and Fisher to spell him on some minutes as well. So rotation changed a little bit, but at the same time, you get your number called, you got to get out there, get the job done. So, we're going to use this week. We're going to take a couple days off. We're going to work hard on the days we're on, fine-tune some things, and be ready to go on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And last Saturday against Concordia St. Paul, I know you didn't get to see the ceremonies as you were in the locker room at halftime, but really a great showing by the guys from that '06 championship team. They were recognized at halftime, a great response from the fans that were in McCown Gymnasium, and then I know you got to spend a lot of time with them Saturday night after the game and Sunday morning again. Just a really, really special weekend honoring those guys and for everything that they did in 2006.
It was. And, the biggest thing about it, Grant, was that, I know you weren't here at that time, but the thing was that it was amazing how many of the parents actually came back, and parents of players that are John Smith's parents were here, and he wasn't even here.
Yeah.
And Zach Malvik's, in Australia, and his parents were here. And just that unity that they had, and it was just absolutely amazing. And after the game, we did get together briefly, and then but the real fun one was Sunday morning at actually my house. The players, the parents, they came over for some brunch, and we're really able to spend some quality time together without a lot of outsiders. And we showed some game footage in that, and it was really special. So I know that they enjoyed their time here, and Winona State did a great job saluting that team.
Sure did. And in the preparations for the weekend, talking to those members of the team, the one thing that I heard from every single one of them was how close the team was and how they really were a family. And then getting to meet them for the first time Saturday night after the game, it was apparent from the moment you walked in just how close they were and still are today. The guys sitting around and talking like, it hasn't been 5 years, like it was just yesterday. Just a really neat group of guys that you could see together there on Saturday night.
Absolutely. They were, a lot of them were roommates. That's something that has been really special for me as the basketball coach, and you go back to having my assistants that have been with me forever, and but to instill that into the players, not only then but now, and it's sometimes you don't have, I don't believe in cliques, but you're always going to get along with somebody on the team, maybe a little bit more closer than somebody else, but you have to have that respect for each other. And those guys, it's a lot of hours that they spent together. May it be on that bus on the road and going to like Crookston or
long road
Bismarck or something like that. But it is. You spend a lot of time together. And one of the things I feel like, and they don't realize it while they're playing here, but it is that 5 years down the road where they're communicating with each other, talking with each other. Zach Malvik gets married, and they're all there, and it's you see that, and that's the part that really I think is special. It's after their playing days, the friendships that they made, and it was very apparent over the weekend.
It was a great time, and one of the best things out of it is that a lot of them will be back in 2 years when we get to honor the championship team from 2008. So that'll be something to look forward to as we can already start planning for that. And speaking of that 2008 championship team, when we come back, Matt Prink is going to sit down with Bryce Welch, who was a member of that championship team. You'll get to learn a little bit more about the Warrior senior in his final year here at Winona State.
See what a smile can do. At Hy-Vee, your health is what matters most.
That's why we offer hundreds of organic and heart-healthy foods.
Expertise in disease management and over 100 in-store dietitians. See what a smile. We'll customize a diet and exercise program for you and your family. We're your personal health team, here to keep you healthy and happy. There's a helpful smile in every eye.
Welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show. I'm now joined by senior guard Bryce Welch. And Bryce, up and down weekend. Let's talk about the St. Cloud game. You guys won by 21 points, and really a few of you guys came in there late in the game and kept it going, spreading it on. 21-point victory. How big was that win for this team at McCown?
It was really big. It was nice to get out there. It was having the weekend that we had with all the alumni coming back to get out to a hot start and have that 21-point victory and getting all the guys in there to actually get going and have some excitement around the team. It was nice to have that camaraderie.
You guys are 4th in the NSIC right now, behind a few other teams. You know, you've been, you know, to the top, you know, in a few national championship games. You know, these are the most losses you've ever had, even back to your high school career. You know, your veteran leadership, what would you say to maybe some of these younger guys to keep them going throughout this season?
You're going to have your ups and downs. You just got to be positive day in and day out. You're not going to be able to make every shot. You're not going to be able to get every rebound, but if you go out there and hustle every possession, good things will come to you.
Let's look briefly at that Concordia St. Paul game, or maybe compare the two games at McCown Gymnasium. What to you was maybe the difference in those games that had you guys win Friday night and lose that close one on Saturday night?
It might have been the intensity level. Everyone was so amped up for the St. Cloud game, just because last time when we went up to St. Cloud, we won on a buzzer beater, and then we were up in Concordia the game before, or when we played them last time. I think we won by like 25 or something like that. We were up pretty handily the whole game, and I think our mindset just wasn't there for some reason. But to take that game, we have to go in the future and just take every game like the St. Cloud game and just be excited for each game.
In practice this week, you guys just got done with it. What are some things that maybe the coaches have tried to drill through with you guys and get ready for the game this Saturday against Upper Iowa?
So far, we've been working on a lot of rebounding. I think in the Concordia game, we were out-rebounded by like 12, and if you're getting out-rebounded by that much, you're not going to win too many games. So that's one aspect of the game that we need to work on a little bit more just to get that much better.
You've been around for quite some time here now. Back in 07, you were redshirted for the national championship loss eventually. And now you get ready here. You come off the bench, but I think still one of those guys that when you get in there, everyone knows what you're going to give. It's 110%. They call you the juggernaut. And really, that's something that you've always had even back to your high school days.
I've never actually heard that, the juggernaut, but it's nice, I guess. Yeah, back in high school, it was nice because I'm scoring a lot and getting rebounds and stuff. I like to bring that to the game, and you can't substitute hustle. If you can't make shots, if you can't pass the ball early, you can always get your good on defense and hustle all the time.
Yeah, I don't think McCown, the crowd gets quite as loud for anyone else's three-point shot when you make it. And, you know, you haven't always been that shooter. You said when you got to the college level, you kind of had to change your game.
Yeah, back in high school, actually, I was more of a slasher, just get to the basket type guy, and I shot, but not as much. Shot from the three, but not as much as I do now. But something I've worked on over the years to get better at.
We'll do the player profile now, and hailing from Wisconsin, big Packer fan. How happy were you this past weekend that your Packers brought home the Super Bowl?
I was real happy. It seems like yesterday that they won their last one. I think I was in 4th grade when they won the last one. So it's nice to bring it back.
And we were talking, what were you doing to celebrate the last Packers win? Back in, I think we were in 6th grade?
6th grade or 4th grade, one of the two. But we had a parade, and I actually brought my dog to school that day and dressed him up in my Packer pajamas. I'd put the shirt on him and slide his front legs into it, and he'd be wearing it. And we had a little parade for the school, a Packer parade. If
you were to come across a Snuggie, a Green Bay Packers Snuggie, would you purchase one?
Probably not. I'm not a huge Snuggie guy. Whenever I see those Snuggie commercials, I'm thinking it's some sort of cult. So I'd rather just get a Packer blanket and use that.
All right, we had the choice in the other room. Are you a Coke or a Pepsi guy?
Definitely Coke.
And is that something you just kind of had for a long time, or?
My parents never really drank Pepsi. They always had Coke in the refrigerator, so I've always had Coke.
Well, Bryce, thanks for joining us here on the Mike Leaf Show. When we come back, Grant Wall and I will talk about this past weekend split and the upcoming game against Upper Iowa.
Welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show on the Warrior Sports Network. Grant Wall joined again by the voice of the Warriors, Matt Prink. And Matt, this is really where the rubber meets the road. The Warriors are 15-6 right now on the season. The new regional rankings won't be released until tomorrow, Wednesday, but it looks like they might be either just barely hanging on to those top 8 spots or, just barely on the outside looking in. This is really where, when the going get tough, the tough have to get going, and the Warriors have to show us that they're tough.
Well, it's all about getting hot at the right time, and certainly look at teams that have made those runs. They were hot at the right time. Yes, they had those great regular seasons, but how they ended their seasons going into that postseason, this is really crunch time, and you start this 3-game away, on the road, Upper Iowa, then you go up to Crookston and Moorhead, and then you come back home and you play Bemidji, a team that's always dangerous. They came into McCown last year and won, and then UMD, a team that beat us up in Duluth earlier this season. So really, you'd like to win out. You want to be in control of your own destiny. I know it's cliche, but win and not necessarily you're in, but you got to stay within that top 8 in the region. And
you talk about roles and how you have to get on a roll in the postseason. This Warrior team is a team that is built to get on a roll. The talent is definitely there. They're still searching for that final piece, but boy, if they get hot, look out. There could be some fun postseason opportunities in front of them.
Well, it's all about, getting that established down low into Clayton Betty, Joel Armstrong.
He's been playing fantastic.
What a weekend he had, especially Friday night, getting the crowd into it with that monstrous left-handed dunk. And something that's overlooked is his defense. And, it's good to have him coming off the bench again after limited minutes earlier this season. Xavier Humphrey shooting the ball very well, and then Ben Fisher being more aggressive, being more assertive, shooting the basketball. I really like that. Can this team pull that all together? Get some good guard play coming off the bench from John Wahlberg, C.J. Erickson still coming off the ankle. Not to mention, you get Brad Meyer back in 2 weeks. Hopefully his knee will be ready to go. So, this team, never count them out. We learned that at Southwest.
Mm-hmm. And everything is not lost. The Warriors are still, if the season ended right now, they would still be hosting a first-round game in the conference. They'd bring St. Cloud in. That's if the season ended today. But they're in position to get a home game in the first round of the conference tournament. Then you would, if you have the win there, you can advance. And if you can get that first win in the conference tournament, if you're hosting, then you're pretty much guaranteed to get into the regionals. So this team has everything out in front of them. The possibilities are still there.
Yeah, 3 losses at home here, which is not usual, not standard procedure here. We're used to big wins here at home, but 3 losses on the road. So really, you can't go either way and say, oh, we're better on the road, we're better at home. It's just come down the stretch. Who can play the best basketball? You'd like to have that first NSIC tournament game be here at McCown, and then wherever you may go, the road's only going to get harder. The 3 teams ahead of us, all very good teams. University of Mary on a 10-game winning streak. Mankato, I think, the clear favorite. That close loss against Augustana, and you never know where we might be at 3. We could still be at 4. So, it's still in our hands. Can we bring it together? Can we get hot at the right time? And yes, we've won one, lost one, lost one, but coming into these final games, I think Winona State has it. They just have to find it.
And talking to Coach Leaf earlier on the show, he said that he believes that this Winona State team can beat any team in the conference and any team in the region, and that's definitely true. Still an abundance of talent, even though everything hasn't quite meshed the way we thought it would. There is still just an abundance of talent on this Winona State basketball team.
Well, when you have a guy, John Wahlberg coming off the bench, you always get 8 points from him, a lot of rebounds, and I think that's something that we struggled with certainly on Saturday night, that we didn't struggle with on Friday when things are really working. What an entertaining game it was on Friday to see us beat such a great St. Cloud team. We held Taylor Witt to 21 points, I believe, on 22 shots.
Yeah.
That is shutting down arguably the best point guard in the league. Him and Ben Fisher, I think, are head-to-head right now. And you see the best of it, and then you see the worst of it. So there's certainly a lot of hope left in this team. And you ask any of those players, Bryce Welch, from any guy on that team, they will never say never, and they're still hungry for this NSIC and the postseason.
Absolutely, and we look forward to Saturday. one game against Upper Iowa this weekend, not the back-and-back or the back-to-backs as we're playing our travel partner this week. So a chance to rest up the guys a little bit. Coach talked about, they're going to take maybe a couple days off this week, but a chance to get the guys some rest, hopefully get a big conference win that we need going forward as well.
Yeah, and don't ever overlook Upper Iowa,
No,
especially
they're a much improved team.
Especially there at home, that gymnasium, you don't hate to compare it to a high school gymnasium, but it's confined, the crowd is right on top of you. Really, a lot of people from Fayette, the community, like to come in there and cheer on their Peacocks. So, maybe use that as a springboard game to really get going. You travel back up to Moorhead, a little vengeance there for that game, Crookston and the Bemidji and Duluth. Really, you win these last 5 games, you're putting yourself in a good position. Depending on how the RMAC conference turns out, if they beat up on each other as much as the NSIC does, we could be looking at a 6 or 7. We're all thinking we just want to get to 8, but really, these next 5 games are very, very pivotal. And
Upper Iowa, it seems like we talk about this each week. Each team has a great player in this league, and Upper Iowa has a couple of very good shooters of their own. Matt
Leeson is a guy that he can go off for a 30-point performance. He creates a lot of his own shots. He's not a guy that needs to come off a screen. He's able to dribble, drive, and he sets up his teammates, and that's what makes that's gotten Upper Iowa to the middle of the pack in the tough NSIC conference. And Leeson. And we look at that victory here back at McCown Gymnasium. We held Leeson to, I believe, 15 or 17 points, and that was on quite a number of shots as well. So certainly you don't want to focus on one player, which we talk on 89.5 when we broadcast the games, that if we always try and focus on one guy, there's that one other player that maybe will go off. I think you just got to focus on the team. Yes, you want to shut down Leeson, but you want to get out of Fayette, Iowa with a big win and try and catapult yourself.
And if Winona State can do to Leeson what they did to Taylor Witt last Friday, that's going to bode very well for the Warriors.
And absolutely. And, once you shut him down, you force it into the hands of those other players that really aren't used to it. And, you play a big game. And I think this is going to benefit Winona State at the right time, this one game a weekend. They maybe get in an extra practice. Work on just components of their game that they've struggled with a little bit. Their free throw shooting has been significantly better, which you got to like where that's headed. Keep working on that rebounding, and I think this team will be just fine.
Lost in the shuffle of Saturday night with the championship reunion and then the way that game ended, we can't forget what Xavier Humphrey did in those closing seconds. Getting fouled with Winona State down 2, he steps to the line and nails 2 huge free throws. If he misses one of those, then, Concordia doesn't need that last-second prayer to win it, and he steps up there with everything on the line and just sinks both of them. A fantastic game and a fantastic moment out of Xavier.
You like to see that clutch performance, especially, he's been in the starting lineup, he's been out of it. He comes into that game, hits a couple open shots, and doesn't force a lot of things. That's what's so great about Xavier Humphrey. He doesn't force a lot of passes inside. He makes the extra pass most of the time, and knocking down those free throws. I know personally, I wouldn't even hit one. What a packed crowd it was on that championship reunion. He knocks them both down. Unfortunately, Kenny Alafaso nails that jumper from the left wing, which was contested. He had a good pump fake. Got Joel Armstrong in the air. It's still not an easy basket to make, but, good for Concordia. They earned that victory.
They did. And let's end this segment talking about the 2006 championship reunion. A fantastic group of guys back being celebrated for a run that really set the tone for what the Warriors have accomplished over the last few years. 2 national championships in the span of 3 years and playing for another one. A fantastic night, being able to recognize the members of that 2006 team for what they did.
Well, it's great. It's great to see some of those guys coming back, and obviously Travis Whipple out there, Mikey Muller, and then to see Jonte Flowers and John Smith sending their well wishes from overseas. Those guys playing professional basketball. What an environment. I don't know how many other people got the chills. When you see those guys, you remember those years watching those games, and you just try to relive it. And you don't want to compare this team to those teams, but you hope that they can recapture that magic. And I think we got a little glimpse of that this weekend with the whiteout. what a turnout it was. Championship night, what a turnout it was. If we can just keep that going and maybe feed off, these away game, that energy from their crowd, I think this team will be very dangerous.
Yeah, two great crowds this weekend, both Friday and Saturday night, and hopefully get a couple wins over the next couple weekends, and then once we get to that final weekend of the season, everything is going to be out in front of us. We'll know exactly what we have to do, and I'm hoping that the Winona community and the students here at Winona State really come out in force those last two games and support their Warriors for their last two regular season games of the season.
Yeah, and what a glimpse it was, to see a few thunderous dunks once again and just that pace on Friday night. It was such a great game to watch. A lot of people are like, oh, it's Division II basketball. NSIC basketball has got to be the best basketball at the Division II level, I'd argue. Just great basketball
Absolutely.
to watch because it is so competitive week in, week out, top to bottom.
Mm-hmm. It sure is, and that's all we have for this segment. We'll be back with a little more from Coach Leaf right after this.
Looking for great off-campus housing? Great River Management and Sales has a large selection of houses and apartments representing many of Winona's property owners. Owners and renters rely on Great River Management. Stop by the Great River Boat at Main and Broadway and see what we can do for you.
Back to the Mike Leaf Show here on the Warrior Sports Network. Last segment of this show, and Coach, just one game this weekend traveling to Upper Iowa. It's a team that you've already beaten this year, but a dangerous team in really what is a must-win game for your program right now.
Oh, no question. And it is a tough place to play. We've been down there before, obviously, and it's a smaller gym atmosphere, and everybody's right on top of you. Upper Iowa's really started to bring in the fans, and it really is a tough place to play. But like you said, it's a must-win, and they all are. And like I told our guys, we got to start putting ourselves in a mission mode. Let's get after it. Let's get it done. Yes, it's one game at a time, but we've got to correct the things that we've made some mistakes on. We've said we played great against St. Cloud, which we did, and then we faltered against Concordia. And we got to get focused, get after it, and maybe that's a calling that losing that game is going to help us out on the stretch, but definitely a must-win.
Mm-hmm. And Upper Iowa is a very deep team. They almost play a hockey style where they bring in 5 guys at a time and just a complete line change. And you mentioned earlier how many minutes some of your guys have had to play. So that do you see that as a problem with Upper Iowa being able to bring fresh-ish legs? I know nobody's legs are fresh at this point of the season.
The one thing is that we're in a one-game situation where we don't have back-to-back. So this may be a game you'll see Ben Fisher play close to 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. But it is, just having that one game, not a back-to-back. They run this high style. And when I say high, we call it Nebraska, but it's a brand of offense where they're up like by the elbow or the high post area, and they try and clear it out. And it's one of those games where defensively we have got to protect baseline dribble penetration, and that's we don't see that too often out of a lot of teams. So we've like I said, we've got this week to prepare for that. We don't have to work at two teams to play against, just the one. So I think that's going to be a positive for us, especially when we are on the road.
Absolutely. And Upper Iowa's bench is so deep, and your bench is starting to look a little bit like a MASH unit. Got a lot of guys over there with bruises and injuries at this point of the season. What's the update, or what's the status of Taylor Cameron and Brad Meyer, who both had to sit out last weekend?
Yeah, Brad is he's a day-to-day. He actually sees the doctor again tomorrow. I don't foresee him playing this weekend, but I could be wrong. The week before, C.J. Erickson, they said he was going to be out, and the next thing you know, he's back on Thursday practicing. As far as Taylor Cameron is, he was walking very well today, working out. I know they put him through a little bit of workouts, then he has to wear the boot, which is often done just to stabilize the ankle. And it's a day-to-day thing, and so I'm really not sure on that one. But I tell our guys this all the time. You're going to have injuries. That's why you got 16 guys in your roster, 17 guys in your roster. And I tell them this all the time, the strong survive. So those people that need to step out on the floor and get the job done.
Absolutely. One game this weekend at Upper Iowa. You can hear it on 89.5 KQAL. Matt Prink and Steve Carley will be down in Fayette bringing you all the action as the Warriors take on Upper Iowa. That's all the time we have. Coach, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Mike Leaf Show on the Warrior Sports Network.